Hey, everybody, welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I am THI publisher Andrew Jones, and the topic today is Carolina basketball and the transfer portal, specifically some wings that the Tar Heels have shown some interest and had discourse with. Before I get into that, very quickly, I want to remind you guys, and you got to hop in. A lot of people have been signing up the last few weeks. If you want David Sisk inside intel, highly vetted, well-sourced intel about Carolina and the basketball recruiting portal, you need to be a member. And I'll tell you what, I went to a fast food place after Mac Brown's press conference on Wednesday. I stopped off because I loaded the video and I wanted to do a quick report about the football portal and what Carolina was looking for. And I went someplace, bought a burger and a soda, a drink, and it was over $10 for that. Now, we're not even $10. When I took over this site August 1st, 2014, it was $8.33 a month for a one-year subscription to Tar Heel Illustrated. Today, almost 10 years later, in a few months, it'll be 10 years, we're still $8.33 a month for a one-year subscription. It's unbelievable. Everything else is 2-3 times as much as that now. Not us. So if a burger and a drink at a fast food joint is over $10 and we're just $8.33, you skip that once a week or once a month, you pay for us and you have tons of intel, and you can become a Carolina Tar Heel football, basketball, and recruiting insider. Okay, topic at hand, Hubert Davis, Carolina, looking into the portal. As we said before, Hubert just doesn't dive in and splash around and talk to 5,000 people and offer everybody insight. He's very methodical. He's very calculated. He knows what kinds of players he wants as far as a fit goes, not just on the court, not just meshing on the court, the types of players they are, but also off the court. And the kids also have to want to be in that kind of environment. They want to have to play for someone like Hubert Davis. They want to have to be in a program like Carolina that has some of the demands that it has. Can you handle the stage? Can you handle the scrutiny? All those things are considered. It's not just, that's a really good player, so why don't they bring him in? There are a lot of other things at play here, which is why it's interesting, as we now know of nearly a dozen players that Hubert has been in contact with, the staff has been in contact with. A couple of wing guys I want to talk about here today, because I think it's a very interesting situation as far as what kinds of players they are and who would you rather have? What kind of player, what scenario would you rather embrace if, as a Carolina fan, when you think about the roster next year and the chance to impact future rosters if you bring in one or two people that actually stick around? So the two guys I want to hit on here specifically are Cade Tyson. Everybody knows about Cade Tyson. He was one of the first names that came out. His brother, Hunter Tyson, played at Clemson, was all ACC, so rookie with the Denver Nuggets in the NBA this year. Also, Andre Stojakovic. He's a kid whose father played in the NBA. He was highly rated in the class of 23 coming out of high school. Had a so-so year at Stanford this year, difficult situation there. I think everybody saw from Harrison Ingram's year this season compared to what he did as a sophomore at Stanford. Don't fully judge him by the Stanford numbers. So certainly with Stojakovic, we can say the same thing. The reason I want to focus on these two guys is, as of now, they're really the two wing shooter types that are on Carolina's radar. These are the two players everyone is talking about. David spoke with people from both camps tonight, earlier this evening. I'm recording this very late at night, Wednesday night, to run on Thursday, and got some intel. Been multiple Zooms and conversations with Stojakovic and Carolina. And Tyson, of course, there's been some dialogue for a while. He has a visit scheduled for this weekend. He'll be the first visit for this weekend. Nobody else will come in until after he takes his visit. So here's the thing. If RJ Davis and Harrison Ingram come back, Carolina still has, 4 scholarships? So they lost. You have 3 guys that use their eligibility, Armando, Paxson, and Cormac, okay? Then you had two guys go into the portal so far with James Okonkwo and Seth Trimble. That's 5 gone. They had 11 scholarship guys last year. So that's 6 returning players. You got 3 scholarship freshmen coming in with James Brown, Ian Jackson, and Drake Powell. That's 9. So if you go get 2 guys from the portal, you're back at the 11-man scholarship roster that Carolina had this past season. But theoretically, Hubert can go to 13 if he chooses, which means there is a scenario where both of these guys could come on board. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I just think right now it's sort of fun during the portal, as we've learned in the last couple of years, to play around with scenarios. That's what I want to do right here. So Cade Tyson has 2 years left. He's a 6'7" wing forward. He's a kid that can shoot. He shot over 46% from 3 this past year, averaged around 16 points a game. He plays at Belmont, which is in the Missouri Valley Conference. It's a solid league. That's the league Northern Iowa's from. You got some really solid programs in that conference. Wichita State got to a Final Four out of the Missouri Valley. It has since moved on. Loyola Chicago got to a Final Four out of the Missouri Valley. They've moved on to the Atlantic 10. So the Valley's a solid league. So if you go 16 points and 6 rebounds a game, shoots 46% from 3, close to 50% overall, it's a player. Plus, if you think about his brother, who's very athletic, very bouncy, could do a lot of things, a guy who improved and improved and improved while he was at Clemson, I would think that the trajectory might be pretty solid. And this is someone that if he went to Carolina, he could step in and have a really significant role right away, whether as a starter or a guy that could come off the bench and do some things for Hubert Davis's team. So I think if Carolina would have a chance at getting a guy like this, then it would be a really nice pickup. He's one of the more highly regarded prospects out there in the portal right now. And I think he would fit a need because Carolina needs shooters. Even if RJ and Harrison come back, Carolina still needs shooters. And certainly a guy that shot 46% from 3 and pretty high volume shooter, he would qualify as someone that could fill that role, either as a starter or someone who comes off the bench and gets quality minutes. Now, Stojakovic is a guy who has 3 years left. He only played 1 year at Stanford, class of 2023. He was the number 41 prospect in the country, according to Rivals, coming out of high school. He averaged just under 8 points a game last year, shot 41% from the field, 32, almost 33% from 3, averaged 22 plus minutes a game. He's a guy that had some pretty nice games. I think he scored 20 or something like that against Oregon. And then he had some games where he really struggled, didn't play a whole lot. I know that from the information that David has gathered, he understands this is a process. He's not looking at this as like, give me the ball right away, put me in the starting lineup. I think Cade Tyson has higher demands, if you will, than a Stojakovic does. But that actually is why I think these two could both end up at North Carolina or wherever. They're both 6'7". I think that Tyson is more polished. He's shown to be more of a little bit more of a rebounder. Like his game is a little bit more advanced. He's also a year older. And Stojakovic might look at this situation and say, hey, I got 3 years. And yeah, Ian Jackson's going to be there. Yeah, Drake Powell's going to be there. They have all this other young talent, but those guys could move on. And if this guy anchors down, he could get 3 years in Chapel Hill, which is pretty significant these days. Quite frankly, not a lot of dudes stay anywhere for 3 years anymore, especially with the new portal rules that are going to be in, I guess, effective immediately at the NCAA passed here Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember which day of the week it was this week where they did that. But so I want to know what you guys think. These are both 6'7" players. Some people think they're cookie cutter players. I don't. I haven't watched a ton of film on either one of them, but I've watched some. They do not look like cookie cutter players. They look like guys that can complement each other on a roster. That's what made last year's roster so strong. When you look at the players that came off the bench, they were not like anybody that they were replacing. Seth Trimble, there was, as a 6-man, there was nobody like him in the starting lineup. Withers, nobody like him in the starting lineup. Jalen Washington, nobody like him in the starting lineup. Even Paxson Wojcik, same thing. And I think that's what made Carolina, one of the things that made them so good was because they were very difficult to adjust to in the course of games. So I think having these two guys, it wouldn't be like one replacing himself or a lesser version of himself or a slightly better version of himself. They are different players, and I think that they would have different roles, both playing at North Carolina at the same time. So let me reiterate. Sometimes people take a few of the words in these and they run with it as if that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is law. Pardon me for getting twisted there. It is late. And I did have my, you know what, but I'm not going to put it on here until they start sponsoring. Anyway, so I'm saying that just proposing the possibility. That's all. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Please don't go say, hey, these guys are both going to go to North Carolina. I'm not saying that at all. I'm having fun with the scenarios and also throwing it out there that if they both did come, that would be a nice dual pickup for Hubert because I think they're both nice players. I like the 3-year idea of Stojakovic. I like the immediate impact of Tyson being someone that can score, and he could still give Carolina 2 years and may well give them 2 years if he were to come. So I think that that's something that people keep an eye on and think about as a possibility. And when you sort through all these different scenarios and possibilities with guys in the portal and so much emphasis right now being on a 5, think about adding 2 guys like this and how that would change the team for next year, how that would make it look. What would they add to the picture? That to me is fun. And it's also something that would enhance the Tar Heels, and who knows, maybe it would happen. But please, please do not say that I'm saying this will happen. Just having some fun with this. But I do think, and I will say, getting either one or both would be a plus for North Carolina. We're going to talk more in some drops. I want to get David on here to do a longer podcast about the bigger picture. It's a very fluid situation. There are some names that have been out there, some guys that Carolina's talked to that really weren't going to end up at North Carolina. If you were on our site, you would have known that about Ballo. We were very clear about that. And you know some things about some of these other guys. I'm not going to give those names away right here. You got to come over and sign up, be a part. The more people that sign up and become members of our site, our community, the more of these pods we can do, the more diverse pods we can do, for the numbers we can do. You can get Jacob on here doing a lot more, and Bryant Balcom and all those guys. The more we can bring you, the better. So you got to go sign up for just $8.33 a month for a 1-year subscription. So let me know, do you like the idea of getting one of these guys or both of these guys? Click like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and let all your Tar Heel friends know that we're here, guys. Not just this channel, but our website, TarHeelIllustrated.com. You can also find us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is growing like crazy, and there's some interesting dialogue on there sometimes. So if you're not a part of that, head on over there too. And also hit the notification bell so you get updates every time we upload, which is often. And if you're all into football too, we have a ton of spring football stuff, not just on our channel, on our site, and we're going to be rolling it out. All right. We don't stop when spring football ends. We're going to roll out content to the end of April, throughout May, throughout June, throughout July, and then when fall camp starts. And we're going to do the same thing with basketball. Even when all the portal chaos is over, we're still going to roll out a crap load of content because that's what we do. I'm AJ, and I appreciate you stopping by.